I am very pleased to stand here before you today on behalf of the head of mission, who is taken up in another event, to speak a little bit about what the Dutch are doing in terms of supporting the different consortiums in South Sudan. And for that reason, I start by saying that the Netherlands has been a long-time partner for South Sudan, doing humanitarian and development concurrently, but as far as our event this morning is concerned, the Netherlands, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, funds altogether 8 different consortiums in South Sudan. And amongst the 8 different consortiums, 4 of them are contributing in the area of gender justice, and that is women's rights and gender equality. And Plan International, the Leaders of Peace, the Leaders of Peace is one of the consortium members that is working in the area of women, peace and security, an area that is very closer to my heart. One, because I believe in the agenda of women, peace and security, but also because I hail from this country. The aim of the the aim of the Leaders of Peace program has been comprehensively explained to us already, but I would like to summarize that the aim is to contribute to an empowering and inclusive environment where women and girls feel safe. They claim their rights to play influential role towards conflict prevention and sustainable peace. This is done by helping local groups develop multi-annual women peace and security-related strategies through mobilization, lobby and advocacy, and platform building across conflict lines, and by influencing laws and policies that promote women's participation and protection through linking and networking actors and platforms on various decision-making levels. Now today we are launching the advocacy strategy. And advocacy in a context of South Sudan is very, very vital. But also it involves very many actors. I am very happy to stand here today to say that I was also part of the consultation, and I believe that while consultation was done and inputs were included, and that's why we have this document today before us. I also believe that policy change can occur when a policy window or an opportunity for change opens. And in the context of South Sudan, I must say that this can be infrequent occurrence, and policy windows open and close sometimes before anyone can notice. And as we are advocating here today through this document, I want us to take note of that. Because sometimes when an opportunity opens like that, and you're still focusing on another thing, you can easily miss out. So the first rule in order for us to advocate and influence effectively is to always understand who actually makes the decisions. I am very happy today to see most of the key decision makers here today, right from Chief Whip, Honorable Joshua Rebecca, and the others who are in this house. So we need to understand who makes the decision and on what basis do they make the decision. Whom are they genuinely influenced by, and how do they manage those processes? Several critical steps are necessary if we are to work towards effectively advocating and influencing for a better and peaceful South Sudan. And one of that is to coordinate our communication efforts. So many advocacy strategies and plans have been developed in South Sudan. But how do we coordinate our efforts? You will see today Leaders of Peace is launching a strategy Tomorrow you hear UN Women is launching a strategy. You hear UNMISS is doing something. You hear civil society is doing something. And we are targeting the same people. Aren't we causing fatigue? Are we not fragmenting? So as we do our advocacy, we need to coordinate our communication efforts. The second is, how do we bring our advocate stories to the legislative meetings? Sometimes in these meetings, people are not aware of these topics. We sometimes make noise to ourselves, maybe as civil society, sometimes as diplomatic missions, we are in our own cocoons, sometimes as faith-based organizations, we are in our own cocoon, and yet we may be having a common agenda. So how do we bring these stories to those legislative meetings? Another thing is the data. You need data to influence. Without data, how will people know the in-depth of the issue that you're talking about, the issue that you would like to influence the change about? So bringing advocate data to the different forums, and especially the legislative meetings where these issues could be picked up, is another area that I leave to you whether you would want to consider that. And then how do we survey advocates for relationship with elected officials? We know that in the context in which we operate, we have changes that can occur overnight. But how do we ensure that we maintain the rightful relationships? You cannot influence without those relationships. And then another one is, how do we organize conditional messaging for actions? This messaging could be at the national level in terms of the policy influence, but it could also be at the grassroots level for grassroots actions. We've heard from from leaders of peace manager speaking about the ABC courts, speaking about women's leadership. So how do we influence at those different levels, at the national as well as at the sub-national level? How do we ensure that the agenda at the grassroots level is linked to the national level to influence that change? And finally, we have this good work that has been put together. And I know that with advocacy, we need to have some metrics to keep us walk the talk that we have put, the roadmap that we want to see. So those metrics could be put there. But in the context, which is very fluid, things do change. How do we ensure that we stick to the plan to influence the change that we want to see, at the same time we are implementing those metrics?
Yeah, PAX is a member of PAX Christi, so I will explain so that we understand. Most often also PAX is confused with PAX Sudan. So today I want to make this clarification so that you don't confuse PAX and PAX Sudan and PAX Christi. PAX, as I said, is the largest peace-building organization that is founded in the Netherlands. Our work is basically to protect civilians against acts of war, to end armed violence, to build inclusive peace, and we work mostly in conflict-affected areas worldwide together with the local partners. You heard that we have the local partners here, AMA and IF. We work with a number of local partners. And we believe that people who are just like us, everybody will lead to a dignified life. That is why we aim as PAX. So the mission statement for PAX is that we believe that just like us, everybody have a right to live a dignified life. And as I say, that PAX is a member of PAX Christi International, so which is the most popular. So the mother organization of PAX is called PAX Christi International. And PAX Christi International, as you're aware, is a Catholic movement which was founded way back after the World War II in 1945. So PAX is now, we call it the working arm of PAX Christi. So that is very important for us to be able to understand. And the mission, of course, of PAX Christi International, that most of you may know is that It wants to transform a world that is shaken by violence, a world that is shaken by terrorism, deepening inequalities, as you hear, and then a global world that is insecure. That is the work of Pax Christi International. So as Pax, we ascribe to Pax Christi International. Yeah, today, as I say, we are here to launch the lobby and advocacy. What is this strategy all about? I want to say that the Pax's role in the leader of the peace is mostly technical. Pax's role in the leader of the peace is technical. In the consortium, meaning that we are to help the consortium on issues of lobbying and advocacy. And as you are all aware, today we are launching this document, as has been emphasized. It is not the work of Pax, but it is the work of all the consortium members, including the Dutch embassy who funded this program. We had to consult them to be able to contribute into this lobby and advocacy. And the involvement of this advocacy, we are saying, it's the beginning of a very remarkable step in South Sudan with regard to the program Women, Peace and Security. Why am I saying this? This advocacy has been developed based on the evidence that we have gathered. Particularly last year, before we engaged in implementation, we had to conduct what we call a baseline, which informed the findings that will guide us to be able to work as members of the consortium. So it is not bringing something from elsewhere, that it is bringing what has been researched in South Sudan, in the 5 locations that were mentioned by Agnes. As the Rosalie mentioned, that there are many advocacy strategies that have developed by many people. Many events go on issues of lobby and advocacy. But the question is, are we collaborating? Are we looking for cooperation? And we are saying that this strategy that we are launching today is the beginning of opening the window for collaboration, especially our government that are here with us, beginning from the law enforcement office, that includes the police, it includes the prisons, it includes the Ministry of Health. Also, these are all very important actors for us to be able to intervene. As you heard, some of our partners are engaging in psychosocial support, and they cannot work without collaboration with the Ministry of Health. The other important thing is that in this lobby and advocacy strategy is reminding us. It is reminding us today. I want to say that we are not doing something new, but we are being reminded as stakeholders, particularly the primary stakeholders. We have those who are owners of the law. We call them primary stakeholders. Do we have the policies in place? Are we implementing the policies? Or are we hiding them in ourselves? So this is what we are saying. We are saying, we are reminded today that we need to see that we implement these policies. We should not keep them in ourselves. We should bring them out to endeavor us to see that change that we desire to see for our people in South Sudan. Importantly, also, those secondary stakeholders who are here with us, the international community, who are with us here, international partners who are also engaging in many activities. We are saying you are part and parcel of advocacy. Advocacy involves inclusivity. Everybody has to participate. So you are here because we feel you are also part and parcel of advocacy, so you need to take a lead. And as I say, that need can only happen if we work together. Together we can cause a change. Alone we cannot. We say collaboration is the key here for advocacy to work. Collaboration is the key for us to be able to identify the gaps. And as I say, some of the policies here that were reviewed in our baseline had some gaps. And it was very important for us to see that when we are advocating, we need to see what are those policies that have gaps that they should be changed. That's why we say that particularly the primary stakeholders are going to be very, very important. And as Rosalie said, that today we are here to see that we are really going to open the door for the leaders of peace partners. When they knock your doors, please open your windows, open your doors. Even if you don't open the door, open the window to listen to them. What are they saying? What message are they passing? So this is also, as I say, is a reminder. Finally, I want to thank all of you who have taken your precious time to come here for this very important launch. We believe that at the end of it, we will be informed about the leaders of peace, lobby, and advocacy. And also, I want to reiterate gratitude to the Dutch Embassy, especially the general support that they have given to support this program. Without them, it will not be possible for us to convene here. As you heard, the Dutch Embassy are supporting 8 consortium, in different consortium. This is the one, but there are others. So we want to thank you very much.
I bring you greetings from the entire Plan International fraternity, especially our colleagues here in South Sudan and in the Netherlands, who have supported this innovative and transformative project that we call Leaders of Peace. This is funded by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs and is for our own good, which will help promote our interest in South Sudan. Today, Plan International and all other consortium members of the LOP project are happy to join parts in launching the lobby and advocacy strategy. The lobby and advocacy strategy is in alignment with Plan International's own objectives. We have objectives around transforming gender and protection of girls and women to deal with issues affecting their lives. Key components of our program look at addressing gender discrimination and exclusion of girls and women at the family level, at the community level, and at the national level. Plan International is interested in seeing greater participation of women in leadership and that girls and women have more decision-making opportunities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am told that South Sudan adopted the Strategic National Action Plan in line with the UN Security Resolution 1325 in the year 2015. This was to, among other things, strengthen the participation of women in peace and security efforts and facilitate the creation of an enabling environment for their leadership and political participation in conflict resolution. It was also to allow inclusive, just, and sustainable peace, recovery and reconstruction processes for an integrated gender perspective into the design and implementation of all policies related to peace and security. So, we can say it was to help address women's low participation in peace and decision-making levels. The statistics are there for our reference. Women comprise only 50% of delegates leading to the negotiation of the 2015 peace agreement. Women comprise 25% of delegates during the 2018 negotiations. Women constituted only 7 out of the 17 civil society signatories, and this represents 41%. Why is the LOP lobby and advocacy strategy important? This strategy is important because it will amplify the challenges women are facing in different parts of South Sudan that hinders their participation in peace and development. It will create a platform for networking and collaboration of different CSOs to jointly advocate on issues related to protection of women and children. It will envision how women political leadership could champion impact and women agenda for peace and development. It will define unified advocacy concern for South Sudanese women in promoting gender equality at all levels. It will also advocate for the 35 affirmative action in the revitalized agreement and that existing opportunities for more representation of women at all levels is realized. What are the key acts? So the key acts as we successfully launch this strategy is that civil societies should join at all levels on the advocacy issues identified, so that needs attention and intervention of the authorities at various levels. As one of the speakers mentioned, sometimes we find ourselves working in silos. We find ourselves disconnected in our work. We are working towards the same goal, and our goals are usually always good. It is very important for us to come together, support one another, engage, and bring about the change we want to see in the lives of our women. We want the gatekeepers to also open doors to support the LOP project whenever they share issues that come to them. So wherever we find gatekeepers, please let's support members of the LOP project and also beyond, because we believe that as we come together and you open the right doors for us and support us, we will achieve the change we all want to see faster. We also want government at all levels to support the project. We are happy to see government represented strongly here, and we know that what we want to achieve is not only in Juba. As you could see from the presentation, we are working in several parts of the country, and we want you to support us as we go to the various levels to engage. Help us with your ministries, your agencies and departments. Let them open the doors so we can work well wherever we are supposed to work. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me say that the future is bright. It is bright to see people gathered in this auditorium, leaving time from their busy schedule to come and discuss things that will help us all develop. I am really excited, and I hope you all are. My request from all of us, let us move out from here, not making this meeting a talk show, but an action journey for us to see the change we want. Thank you very much.
It's really great to be here this morning and to listen to what the strategy, the lobby and advocacy strategy is focusing on. If I got it right, it's about policies and regulation of GBV and protection of women and girls. It is also about empowering civil society organizations to facilitate inclusion of women and girls and to increase effective participation of women, youth, and girls in leadership and peace building. If that is it, this only qualifies my thinking that it is the little things that are the bigger things. That if these objectives are achieved, South Sudan can move to the next level. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you always to believe that South Sudan, the things you do, just the fact that you have come to sit here this morning up to now, is already a strong contribution for the stability of our country. There is no country that just stood up and went. Every country started the way we are doing. And so your commitment, especially women, I'm happy to see that you're on the lead in this. When women decide, the power of women cannot be played. All of us, those of us men who are here, we know the power of a woman. The courage and the dedication and the commitment to get stuff done. Women have this natural character of commitment to something that they believe in. If our women of South Sudan believe in peace, the Republic of South Sudan will have peace. If the women of South Sudan believe that GDP can be stopped or can be reduced, it can happen. If the women believe that social cohesion is important for us to call ourselves as South Sudanese, it can happen. Because of your dedication, your commitment, and focusing on what takes us forward. We know women are always builders. Only very few women destroy. A lot of women want to build because God gave them that opportunity to bring up life. Women don't always like to destroy life, but they want to see their children prosper. And the women would want, in fact, to see our country, South Sudan, prosper. So you have a lot of responsibility, and I believe with this 5 years activity, you can make some change to our country. What I would want to challenge you is don't do it alone. There is this notion that, we don't work with the government. Government is not good, or I don't know. We choose where to work. There is no country where these things can happen. Which country where partners choose to say we are not working with the government? And government gives you all the protection. And by the way, there is no perfect government. Where is the perfect government in the world? Somebody can show me where a perfect government is? It is very difficult. Government goes through some challenges, but it is always a government. Think about it. Which part of the world? You will agree with me that government always goes through challenges to try to provide the leadership that its people need. But you cannot work outside government. The activity you are going to do will be for 5 years, but the government is here to stay. And so why do we encourage our partners doing peace building? Because one thing that has happened in South Sudan, many partners do peace building for 2 years. For example, peace dialogue. You go to a community, you have peace dialogue. The community told you our problem is 1, 2, 3. Your project was for 6 months. You went. You did not attend to the resolution of those agreements that took place. Another partner came. Their project was for 1 year. They sat the same community for a conversation. Why are you fighting among yourselves? The community gave them the resolution, what can fix their community. And they went. So for how long shall our people talk? And there is no follow-up, there is no implementation of the resolution. The government of the county, the government of the state, the national government, this is the role of the government to make sure that what can bring stability is implemented. So work with the government. Every jungle, as you will agree with me, has its own owner. South Sudan has the government that leads. So I want to encourage you. The role of the Ministry of Peace Building is not only to design policies, but also to lobby, because our main role is to help with coordination. We believe there is no one entity that will bring stability and peace to South Sudan. It is all of us when we work together. But our role is to lobby at the national level with donors to make sure that funding is going to our institution to be able, and civil society organizations to implement peace. Ladies and gentlemen, and especially for this program, you have a lot of work to do. I will tell you a small story, something that touched my heart 2 weeks ago. We have one of our partners who went to the eastern part of our country. There is a place called Nana. I don't know if the people here know about Nana. They went and they were trying to talk to the youth to be able to work together and to avoid cattle wrestling. And then one of the men there came and told them, are we now in South Sudan or are we in Sudan? They told him we are in South Sudan. Then he told them, is Dr. John Garang now in Juba or is he in Khartoum? They told him Dr. John Garang died. Can you imagine? Then there are corners of our country where there is no information, where there is no services. And sometimes we concentrate our efforts in some places where within our comfort zone. We want to implement our project where we feel a bit comfortable. But there are corners of this country that need your intervention. Sometimes we are quick to blame. Oh, these people, they are fighting, they are stealing cattle. If you go, look them in the eye and try to understand why they are human beings. Why do they do that? You will understand they have a problem. They have a case. They have a case as South Sudanese that we are all responsible for. So I want to challenge this project that try to go beyond your comfort zone. Try to reach to that South Sudanese who need your information, just for them to sit down and walk them through what it means to live together. I believe, and I want you to join me in this. In South Sudan, it's not only that we should disarm, take away the guns. It's not only the only solution. In the midst of peace building, we believe we want the disarmament of our heart. And disarmament should happen in our head. For example, if I have two guns and I have a problem with you, and the one gun is taken, and the two are taken, I can still use the stones. I can still use the spear. That means we are not solving the problem holistically. As human beings, we need a platform to have the conversation to agree that you wronged me. But today I decide that let us live together. So the concept of only taking away the guns is not enough. We need to do a real holistic disarmament. I'm happy we are talking about psychosocial support. Trauma is killing many of our people. So trauma healing, psychosocial support is important. And above all, for our youth and our women, sustainable livelihood skill. You will not do a comprehensive GBV activities without sustainable livelihood skill and economic empowerment for our women and the youth. Why is the man beating the woman? Because the woman asking for some money to go to the market to buy food, and the man does not have. So defensive mechanism, the man has to show that he's a man. Why is the man beating the woman? Because the man came for lunch and did not eat meat. Ate all the corrupt, and he wanted to eat meat, but he did not leave the money in the morning for the meat. So why is the man beating the woman? Because the woman is telling the man school fees for the children that have been sent home, and the man does not have the school fees. The man gets mad and starts to beat. What if you empower the woman economically, that she can provide food, that she can pay school fees? That is where we address sustainably GDP issues. So I want to encourage you to look beyond policies and really look at things. Also for the youth, when you look peace building, what is peace and who has peace? I believe peace is a basket of good things. There is nothing like peace, because people always say, I want to be not Dar es Salaam. You know Dar es Salaam, you know. Who is there a super person in this country who has peace? Who will come and give you a hug, you take your piece of peace? Peace is built by the little things that you do as women. When you go to fetch water, can you leave the other woman who came breastfeeding to take first, or first to come, first to serve? So there are a lot of things that we need to do as women to bring peace to this country. Our poor people always, peace will not come by aircraft and land will do by airport for us to go and do, but it takes all of us. So I want to encourage you and say, let us work together. Let us coordinate. Let us do those little things that can lead to the bigger things for our country. Don't lose hope in South Sudan. Many people want to make us feel like we are in the worst country. We are not. We must love our country. Patriotism. We must love our country. There is Mr. Google. If you go to Mr. Google, he will tell you where you stand. Even in 35% representation in government, you go to Google and see other countries. I don't want to name countries, but you will know that you are doing fairly well. But people make you feel like you are the worst. We are not the worst, ladies and gentlemen. And we only have little time. And we will reach there if we see our women in privacy. I want to stop here and thank you very much for listening.